There's a formula to filmmaking that many companies drive by and or pick up, whether it's corporate films or creative films or feature films, whatever it is. That formula can be repetitive, it can be reproduced, and we're seeing it again and again on TV and film, with a lot of huge budgets going into films that we've seen before, and they're being repeated and they're just different stories. But actually there's room for change, there's room for bringing something more dynamic to the table, and I think that's what we're trying to do, and we're trying to do that in a way that excites people, in a way that's sort of unprecedented. People are addicted to content, and I think this is really interesting. And it means that the market, although it's saturated with production companies and people making stuff, actually there's huge opportunities to make amazing stuff. And so there's a sort of oversaturation of rubbish in the sort of YouTube space or Netflix. I mean, it's incredible. There's a huge amount of money being pumped behind productions, but actually we only see and hear about the really amazing stuff which tends to go viral among the online discourse, the online conversation. So it's exciting to be able to think, okay, I've got an idea, but how do you distribute that to a young market with their iPhones, with their iPads, even a market that's slightly older, because they've got their smart TVs, they've got access to the same stuff, but in different formats. So it's exciting. When I go home to my parents, they have a typical, I see it as very archaic now and very sort of strange, but this subscription package to something like Sky, or you pay something like 80, 90 pounds a month for access to all the channels. You know, you've got thousands of channels from all around the world, and they're showing everything you could possibly need, and you are consuming content sort of ad hoc. You're sat there in front of the TV and you're staring into the screen, into this void, but actually you're not getting anything back, and you're paying for this strange relationship between the content and yourself. And so my parents, I think, and that generation have got a different relationship to content than millennials do. Millennials want things on demand. We want them instantly. We're very annoying, and we're loud. And so if we want to watch Breaking Bad, we expect to be able to access episode 1 on series 3 instantly. We don't want to wait till 9 o'clock on a Sunday evening when it's going live as per the BBC's agenda. So it's all about on demand. I think millennials are all about getting access to things as and when they want them. And I really think what's interesting is we have a different relationship to money, perhaps, as well. As we're part of a generation that rents everything in a way that perhaps our parents didn't, or certainly aren't doing now through ownership of houses, etc. So what you're seeing is we're trying to get the best value for money in everything we do as millennials. What is interesting for content creators is how do you entice a millennial, or even the younger generations, to pay for content? Because, for example, same generation, but my brother, who's 16, thinking about 10 years ago when I was his age, and what he's doing now, he's not paying for content in the way that I'm paying for content as a millennial, and certainly not the way our parents pay for content. So how will that change the way we charge people for our creations? And I think that's really interesting, because YouTube, for example, is a way that my brother, for example, consumes a hell of a lot of content. It's incredible. But of course he's not paying for that. It's all through ads. And that's his Sky package. That's his Netflix in a way. And so that's really interesting. Facebook exists for free because all the data that's being plunged into it allows them to target ads at you. I don't think I've ever clicked on one of those ads, so I'm probably one of the worst use cases of a Facebook free user. But there's a reason why it's free, and I think that's another interesting thing is we're very happy to go to the cinema and pay £10 to see a film, and that product is received and we've understood that we've paid £10 for it. But if we go onto Facebook and we log in and we start sharing things or watching stuff, and that's all being tracked, we don't pay a penny for that, or we do, in our dignity or in it being sold to the highest bidder or whatever. But it's interesting that people don't make the same relationship because it's free almost. It's sort of, they don't care as much. But now they do care when they find out that it's all been sold off. But even then, people continue to use it. I don't know anyone who's gone off immediately after this huge scandal and deleted their Facebook profile. I know there was a hashtag on Twitter, ironically on another social media platform. There was a hashtag for deleting Facebook. And of course, you know, great. But it's sort of like going vegan. You know, not everyone's going to do it very quickly. It's going to take a long time before we really care about those chickens. Hey Siri, turn the lights back on.
Coming right up. Some lights didn't respond.
There you go.
Check the home app for more details.
Some lights didn't respond, but that one did, and that's all that matters.